Happening right now on WUSA9 News at 5, the D.C. Council just voted on a new massive crime bill. This bill is controversial, so we're going to hear what community activists and city leaders are saying.
Days since a former Trump administration official dies after what's been described as a carjacking rampage, a friend and former co-worker of Mike Gill is remembering him tonight. How his death is continuing to amplify concerns about violent crimes in D.C.
Don't be fooled. Another cold night ahead. We'll tell you just how low it's going to go for the morning bus stop and new model data in on the forecast for Super Bowl Sunday and maybe a return to winter next week.
Plus, tonight we're celebrating a major milestone. WUSA9 turned 75.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look back at the station's storied past and welcome a few friends back to the anchor desk.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
And we start the news at 5 on the Weather Watch as we take a live look right now over the district. Another beautiful and sunny day across the area, but there was a bit of a chill in the air.
Yeah, the Chief Topper Shut is outside on the weather terrace, and Top, it's going to be cold again tonight before pretty nice tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we got to just sort of keep in mind, as nice as the afternoons are, it was 46 today, which is spot on average, as Caitlin pointed out, but it's going to be cold to start each morning, so just sort of keep that in mind, getting the kids ready for the bus stop. Let's start with low temperatures tonight. For example, tonight we're looking at lows, generally in the 20s if you're outside the district. I mean, we're looking at maybe 31 downtown, but I mean 24 Gaithersburg, 24, 23 in Frederick and Damascus, 25, 26 in Leesburg. Look at that, 21 down toward Manassas and low 20s in Culpeper, Luray, and Front Royal. So yeah, it's going to be a cold morning. I mean, the good news is there's not much wind. Have to really worry about, wind chills, but that's worthy of a winter coat tomorrow at the bus stop. And certainly if you guys are trying to walk somewhere at the bus stop and walking the kids, you're going to need a winter coat. You really are. All right, so in terms of, right now we're looking at temperatures, again, average for this time of year. We're looking at temperatures generally, where they should be in the 40s. So there was kind of a chill today, but not a big chill. I mean, in the 40s, but looking at 30s pretty quickly tonight. By the time, you go out, 8 o'clock, 30s, 37. And remember, these are downtown temps. 35 at 10 o'clock, so the walk with the dog before bed, a little bit chilly. And then we hold right around the low 30s. Maybe we dip to 29. I think it's a little bit low for D.C. We're going to go a low of 30 or 31. But the good news is the winds are light and not a factor, so we're not talking about wind chills tomorrow at the bus stop. We're just simply talking about a cold start. Now, I'm going to come back. I'm going to show you the American model for Saturday, Sunday, in case you're having a Super Bowl party. And we'll talk about the potential for something next week. I alluded to it last night at 11 o'clock. Jonathan mentioned it this morning, and Caitlin just mentioned it. There's a little something on the map that we'll take a look at when we come back in about 10, 15 minutes.
Sounds good, Tom. Thank you. Right now, we've got some breaking news out of Fairfax County, and it is good news for restaurant owners. The County Board of Supervisors just voted to permanently allow outdoor dining. It, of course, was popular during the height of the pandemic. Restaurant owners will be able to have outdoor spaces that are no more than half the size of their indoor spaces. The board passed this new ordinance with a unanimous vote. All right, new at 5, the D.C. Council has just voted on that new crime bill, and over 100 community activists are packed inside the Wilson building waiting for that vote.
Yeah, our Delia Gonzalez is live outside of council chambers at the Wilson building tonight. Indeed, where do things go from here?
The D.C. omnibus bill passes just moments ago here in council chambers. A 12 to 1 present. Councilmember Trayon White not choosing to vote this time around, but he did vote present, I guess, and so we can tell you and we can report that DC Omnibus has indeed passed. We have all these advocates here who are really celebrating a win. We have showed you pictures of all these advocates, 100 of them, coming here to council chambers because they said there was so much at stake and they needed to voice their opinions, and certainly they are here celebrating a win because many amendments that they were fighting for actually were debated upon and passed. We're talking about an amendment by Councilmember McDuffie that returns the notion when police collect DNA evidence from someone only after a conviction of a felony crime. The bill initially was asking for police to collect that DNA evidence before they were actually convicted of a crime at the time of arrest. So that is one win that advocates say they saw here in council chambers today. Another amendment that was just passed and they consider a win was pretrial detention. Now you remember that was an emergency bill this summer. This proposal was going to make it permanent, but council members said we need more data to ensure that this is actually working to keep the residents of DC safe. So pretrial detentions put on hold. It's just will be now temporary for another 250 days so the council can collect and analyze data to see if indeed it is making us safer. We talked to some advocates earlier today. Let's listen to what they had to say.
What's at stake is mass incarceration. What's happening right now is really the expansion of criminality when it doesn't get at the root of the problem.
We would urge the council to make sure that they have an evidence-based, comprehensive public safety system that's more proactive than reactive.
We worked very hard over the last several weeks to work with all of our colleagues and incorporate some of the concerns that they had.
Right now, the bill would allow law enforcement to take DNA from a person who's arrested. Not a person who's been convicted, not even a person who's been charged, but a person who's been arrested. And when you think about how many of the cases that the U.S. Attorney's Office has that are never prosecuted, you're talking about a lot of potential DNA.
And as you take a look live here at the screen outside of council chambers, you can see that Ward 5 Councilmember Kenya McDuffie is still discussing more measures here inside chambers. However, we can report to you that the DC Secure Omnibus passed the first vote. We're waiting to hear word as to when they will schedule that second vote, but we are anticipating that to be in about 2 to 3 weeks for that second and final vote before it goes to the mayor's desk. We're live here at the Wilson Building. Delia Gonzalez, WUSA9.
Yeah, indeed. We know this is a complex issue, and a lot of people are involved to make sure they get it right, which is ultimately to reduce crime and hopefully save some lives as well. But again, it's not a done deal just yet. We know you'll stay on top of it for the next couple of weeks. Delia, thank you.
Yeah, the future of that crime bill may still be up for debate, but it is generating a lot of input from people across the district, and that includes a friend of Mike Gill. Gill was a former election official who was shot during a violent crime rampage last week.
Yeah, and just 3 days ago, we learned he died from his injuries. More than a week later, and all new tonight, that friend is speaking to our Matthew Torres.
He is live close to where Gill was shot on K Street Northwest. Matthew, what is that friend saying to you?
Leslie, civil rights attorney Deonna Lewis worked closely with Mike Gill at the D.C. Board of Elections. He was the only GOP board member. And while she's remembering him tonight as a kind and respected professional, she's certainly keeping a close eye on what happens next with this D.C. crime bill.
It's literally just like floating in a nightmare, right? Because how could this be?
Just days after Mike Gill died, Deonna Maria Lewis describes being in disbelief. The father of 3 was shot near City Center while waiting in his vehicle to pick up his wife last Monday afternoon.
I'll just be going about my day and I'll just be thinking about the fact that Mike was laying on the ground outside of his car, literally in a pool of his own blood.
Gill was the senior vice president of Housing Policy Council and served in the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission under President Donald Trump. The civil rights attorney worked closely with Gill at the D.C. Board of Elections, viewing him more as an uncle.
Some people often say, oh, this person was so great, right? But no, he was a great human spirit, regardless of political affiliation, regardless of race.
In a statement to WUSA9, Gill's wife said knowing Mike even casually meant becoming extended family, as he relished opening our home to friends and colleagues to bring people together. Police say 28-year-old suspect Artel Cunningham also killed another person in Noma during a carjacking rampage. He was eventually killed by officers in Prince George's County. Investigators believe this suspect was going through a mental health crisis.
People are very concerned about having to go back to work in downtown D.C. because these days, violence can strike wherever whenever.
Lewis is speaking to WUSA9 as D.C. Council is set to vote on a sweeping crime legislation, which she believes is a step in the right direction.
Accountability is paramount, and we as a district want to be rehabilitative as well. But I think there needs to be a balance between our two communities. We have to do something.
And of course, as we had just heard moments ago, D.C. Council passed this bill in its first vote. Now, the president of Housing Policy Council, where Mike Gill worked, also released a statement expressing his concerns, anger, and frustration about the violence in our city, saying, quote, "It must be stopped." Leslie?
Yeah, thinking about his family tonight for sure, Matthew. Thank you.
All right, a man robbed a bank in Stafford County, and now police need your help finding him. Take a look here. The Stafford County Sheriff's Department says this man right here robbed the Carter Bank and Trust on Worth Avenue. That's near the Chick-fil-A on Garrisonville Road. So this happened at around 11 o'clock this morning. He was able to get away with cash before officers arrived. If you recognize this man here, give the Stafford County Sheriff's Office a call. Meanwhile, police in D.C. are also looking for a bank robbery suspect. They say a man in construction gear robbed the Capital One Bank on K Street in Northwest this morning. That's right across the street from Farragut Square. Now, police say the man implied he had a weapon, but he never displayed one. He did get away with money, but how much is still unclear. Anyone with information is asked to contact D.C. Police at that number on your screen, 202-727-9099. All right, still ahead here tonight, a federal appeals court says Donald Trump is not immune from federal criminal prosecution. So what's next for the case, as the former president indicates he wants the Supreme Court to weigh in?
Plus, an historic atmospheric river pounds California. We're going to take a look at the cleanup efforts underway as more rain is in the forecast.
But first, WUSA9 is kicking off a year-long celebration of 75 years of informing, inspiring, and impacting the DMV.
And some of our neighbors and some of your favorites were kind enough to share their well wishes, including Maryland Senator Ben Cardin.
Congratulations, WUSA. 75 years of reporting to the people of our region. Thank you for all you do in the DMV region. Your reporting is critically important to our community. Congratulations.
Life insurance with our family history. Don't you know about Colonial Penn?
That's right. Colonial Penn Life Insurance Company. We guarantee acceptance to everyone aged 50 to 85. No health questions, no medical exam. Applying is easy. And you have your choice of options starting at $9.95 a month, a few dollars a week, 35 cents a day. And your price will never go up. A lifetime rate lock guarantees it. Visit colonialpenn.com for free information and a free gift.
Welcome to our streaming channel. Here you can catch up on all the latest news, weather, and sports you need. Countless hours of fresh, original content you can watch at any speed. Everything you love about local, plus so much more.
35,000. That is the average number of decisions a mom makes every single day. They say it takes a village to raise a child. We say it takes a squad. Mom Squad, every week, right here on your streaming app.
I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
If you're looking for great local programming and more, you found it. Welcome to our streaming channel. Here you can catch up on all the latest news, weather, and sports you need. Countless hours of fresh, original content you can watch at any speed. To stay up to date on what's happening above you, around you, or around the world. Stay in the national know or binge watch your own backyard. Stream everything you love about local, plus so much more.
Well, tonight, people across California are beginning to dig and dry out after a powerful atmospheric river really just pounded that state.
Yeah, you've probably seen some of the damage, the flash flooding, and it triggered hundreds of mud and landslides over the past few days. As Jonathan Vigliotti reports, the historic storm also claimed the lives of at least 3 people.
I don't know how I'm alive right now.
PJ Bearfield says it felt like an earthquake when a mudslide crashed through his LA home without warning. The massive gush of debris knocked out the back walls of his home, destroying his bedroom as he slept and coating everything in thick sludge.
Literally, it just happened in 3 seconds. Rumbling, big bang, throwing debris and pieces of the ceiling off of my body.
The historic atmospheric river storm system is bringing record rainfall to Southern California, triggering more than 300 mudslides over 3 days.
This storm continues, and that means we still need Angelenos to take precautions.
Falling trees killed at least 3 people as powerful winds ripped them from the ground. Firefighters rushed to save residents from rising waters, including a man who reportedly needed to be airlifted from the LA River after jumping in to save his dog.
I have to move out.
In LA's Baldwin Vista neighborhood, this resident is being forced to relocate after her home was destroyed.
They're going to come pack up my house tomorrow and put it in storage. So I am super overwhelmed.
As the cleanup begins, President Biden is pledging to provide federal aid to areas hard hit by this storm. Jonathan Migliotti, CBS News, Los Angeles.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
You were talking to us about that atmospheric river on Sunday. I mean, to see the damage there within minutes.
I mean, that's a lot of rain for us, and our soil is more conducive to letting it percolate in and absorbing it. I mean, out there, that's just mainly runoff. And I mean, some houses are not only destroyed, they're at a different address.
Yeah, and some people were told to evacuate early on because they knew something like this would happen.
Right. And I did check in with my sister, and her 2 sandbags held.
Oh, that worked.
So she's okay.
And she's fine. And the house is dry. So
she knows what she's doing.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, she does. She's kind of a native now, which is kind of weird. Okay, so on this date, and yesterday's date too, we had some fantastic weather.
It was not fantastic.
Snowmageddon.
It was not fantastic.
That's just what you want.
It was a mess.
The only problem with it was the first 6 inches were wet because it rained a little bit downtown before it kicked to snow. And so we had the 6 inches, and then we had the heavy snow. And I mean, the snow got drier as we went through, but it took out power across most of the DMV. I mean,
that's why I don't like snow, Top. See?
Well, it doesn't always take out power, you know. So let's put that into perspective. So that's the storm. It's tied with 2016, their January storm. It's kind of weird that it's tied to the 1/10 of an inch with snow blowing around. But anyway, that's the way it came out. But that storm for Dulles, hands down, #1 storm on record, 32.4 inches. And remember, we had a storm later that week where we had about anywhere from 6 to 17 inches on top of that, which was just crazy. Okay, little different pattern right now. Cold start, but a seasonable finish on Wednesday. Mostly sunny Thursday and milder. And then on Friday, mainly dry on Friday. Maybe a few more clouds, but mainly dry. A pretty good day. Guess what? We still have some showers across most of California, especially the west side of 5, and still some pretty heavy rain into LA. And this band of rain is going to move in the next hour. So they're not done. I mean, yes, the heaviest rain is done, but they're not completely done. All right, let's talk about the weekend. This is the GFS. This is Saturday morning, 8:30. We have clouds, showers and rain to the southwest of us. It kind of breaks apart, though. So I think most of Saturday's dry, maybe a shower. We have a shower in the forecast. I wouldn't plan around it at this point. And then by Saturday night, still dry, but then there's more moisture back into Tennessee and into the deep south. That kind of skirts the area on Sunday. And I will say that the European model pretty similar with this pattern of taking Sunday's rain mainly south of us. So if you have a Super Bowl party, I think folks will be driving to and from dry. I don't think it's going to be, weather-wise, it'll be dry. I don't think it's going to be a problem. This is 4 o'clock on Sunday. There's some spotty showers here and there, but most of the activity now is down to the south. Then we're watching this storm. There's another storm back to the south and west of us, and we'll watch that for Tuesday and Wednesday. Right now, it does not look like it's going to be a winter storm. Could change, but right now it doesn't look like it. So seasonable tomorrow, pleasant on Thursday, mid-50s, and then low 60s, milder on Friday, a few more clouds, but a pretty good day. Saturday, we'll keep that stray shower in, some stray showers Sunday morning, and then we'll watch that storm nearby. I just peek at the guide. Next time I see it, the new guidance will come in for the GFS. But right now, the storm's going to either be south of us or it may even just be rain. And then clearing skies on Tuesday, highs Monday, Tuesday around 50.
Okay, we know you'll keep watching for that storm on Monday. Thank you, Top. All right, still ahead here tonight, we're kicking off our 75th anniversary celebration.
Two WUSA9 legends join us to reflect on some of their favorite moments during their time on the anchor desk, and it's a conversation you don't want to miss.
Imagine people our age getting life insurance without loose change.
If you're 50 to 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance life insurance from Colonial Penn, with options starting less than 35 cents a day, just $9.95 a month. There's no medical exam and no health questions. As long as you're 50 to 85, in most states, you cannot be turned down because of your health. Visit colonialpenn.com for free information and a free gift.
Life is full of special moments. From moments to cherish, to the ones you'll never forget. No matter the occasion, life's special moments deserve luster.
If you're looking for great local programming and more, you found it. Welcome to our streaming channel. Here you can catch up on all the latest news, weather, and sports you need. Countless hours of fresh, original content you can watch at any speed. To stay up to date on what's happening above you, around you, or around the world. Stay in the national know or binge watch your own backyard. Stream everything you love about local, plus so much more.
Got a new house.
I think I finally found a place that I call home. I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Hurricane Idalia hit Florida's west coast.
After the mass shooting, all of Nashville is coming together.
Get the latest headlines from near and far in the news.
35,000. That is the average number of decisions a mom makes every single day. They say it takes a village to raise a child. We say it takes a squad. Mom Squad every week right here on your streaming app.
Tonight, we are kicking off a year-long celebration. WUSA9 is celebrating 75 years on the air. That's more than 7 decades of informing, impacting, and inspiring the people of the DMV. We live to tell your stories, and it is a responsibility that none of us take lightly.
I can't wait for us to zoom out here
I
because
know,
tonight
it's
we
so
want to
great.
welcome back two people who played a monumental role in WUSA9's story. Joining us here at the anchor desk, back on the anchor desk tonight, former WUSA9 anchors Maureen Bunyan and Derek McGinty. Good to see you.
Hey guys.
Good to have both of you.
I don't know, I can't even speak. Maureen was the, you know how it is when you see the person who inspired you and they're right
And
here
you're at the
within
desk
reach.
together. Maureen
was the co-anchor here at WUSA9 for 22 years, from 1973 to 1995.
Yeah, and for 12 years, Derek co-anchored our 6, 7, 11 o'clock broadcast. Anything I'm missing there?
7.
From 2003 to 2015.
Those were good years, D. We had a
It
great
was. We
time
did have
working
a
together.
ball.
So, Derek, the anchor desk literally and figuratively was like your command center.
Yeah.
What was it like for you sitting here on the desk when you weren't cracking jokes and writing fabulous stories?
Well, that's very nice of you to say, Leslie. I had a great time, and it was fascinating to watch the story sort of unfold under our fingertips, so to speak, right? We'd be in the middle of a big story or a snowstorm or anything that was going on, and we were sort of in charge of what people found out about it right away. I found it to be a real thrill.
Yeah. And Maureen, I don't even know how you narrowed this list down. You interviewed so many people during your time here at WUSA9. What were some of your favorites and why?
Well, you know, I was remarking today that this year is the 50th anniversary, of the passage of the Home Rule legislation, giving the district, you know, somewhat home rule. And the first story I covered the day I started working at Channel 9 was the day I started. I had to go to the Capitol to interview senators and congresspeople about the home rule legislation. Yeah. And I knew nothing about it, zero. I'd never been to the Capitol in my life. Oh. And I was just so stunned at the relationship between, obviously, the Congress and the President and Washington, D.C. And it just triggered in me a desire to know everything I could find out about Washington. And so what I did was, to do this, I would call people up, you know, cold. Didn't matter who they were. If I was in a cab with a cab driver, I'd say, hey, would you like to stop and get a cup of coffee? I want to find out about who you are and what you do. Wow. So, and obviously I didn't have any fear of walking up to people and saying, hey, come and have a coffee. And I learned so much about the city and its culture, and I really fell in love with it. And of course, things have changed tremendously, but there is still in Washington this spirit of service. People are here to serve the public. And that's the thing that I love about this area. And I think it's the reason I was able to stay.
Yeah, yeah.
I have been able to stay so long. And that's the reason also I'm so fascinated with all the news that we have done and all the news that's going to happen.
You knew so much about hometown Washington, about official Washington. You traveled internationally, you did documentaries. I'm particularly remembering one that your team did on Japan, and I wonder if you can tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I was, you know, one of the things that I realized, and I think all of us have gone through this phase in our careers, you want to do something, some project or some story that people are going to say, oh, I didn't know she knew about X, Y, and Z. And so I chose as my subject the trade imbalance between the U.S. and Japan.
Wow, okay.
And in the 70s and 80s, the trade imbalance had gotten to a very big then, I think it was $30 billion. And so I arranged and got, you know, negotiated to get a crew to go to Japan. And we went and we stayed, I think it was a week and a half or 2 weeks. And we had an incredible time. And we got to interview the Prime Minister at that time. We also interviewed the founder of Sony. And as a little gift, he gave me a Walkman.
Do you still have it?
No. When I brought it back here, I said, what am I going to do with this thing? I don't even know how it works. And I gave it to the child of one of my friends. So this was one of the first Walkmen in the United States.
Yeah, it was Walkman. It was yeah, that's what it was. There weren't any walk people. It was just, yes.
Was it Walkman or Walkman?
Walkman, it was
right?
Walkman.
Yeah. It was a Walkman. So if you had two,
Walkman.
Oh,
We just had the one
the
there,
Walkmans.
right?
Were they Walkmans or Walkmen?
That's, and I think I did a good job with the story. Also, it was a half-hour special. We got a good review in the Washington Post, and I felt good about it. One of my also slogans was, in doing those types of stories, knowing how knowledgeable people are in Washington about international issues, national, et cetera. I said, I want to do a story, and I want everything to be so exact and so perfect that even the experts in the field can't call me and say, hey, you missed that, you know, or that was not right.
Yeah.
And
the facts matter.
Yeah. And nobody called to complain, so I thought
you did that. Right. That worked.
And really quickly, for both of you listening to your stories, how has journalism changed?
I think the good news is you've had to get better. right? It's so competitive. You're all looking for eyeballs. Everybody wants eyeballs. There's no way around that. And you've had to get better. So when I turn on Channel 9, you're doing things that we didn't even think about doing, when I left here in 2015, because you've had to get better and you've had to compete. So I think that's the good news. The bad news, of course, is that the financial realities of the business have changed drastically, and the newspapers we used to count on so much in the broadcast business, they are suffering and sometimes going away, and I think it makes it a lot more difficult. So it's kind of a good news and bad news kind of thing, I think.
Well, what do you think?
I think, first of all, I agree completely with what Derek has said. Broadcast news has become a commodity, just like so many other products. And so much of it is run and marketed as a product, not a service, because I always thought of television news as a service to the community. And so that's very disturbing, and I don't see it changing very quickly. And I also think that because of the demise of local newspapers, the local TV stations have even more problems because they have to cover more stories. And it's hard for younger people, I think, who have just entered the business, because many of the things that we sort of covered as, well, it's a beginning and we're going to keep going and we'll get better at this and become better journalists. Some of them get stuck in places where they don't have the chance to grow and expand their own horizons. And many of those people, some of them, just decide to quit because it's not the business that they thought it was going to be. So I worry about the next generation, so to speak.
Well, you two are not just survivors of the industry, but you're thrivers, and there's so much more to talk to you about, and we're so glad you're here.
Such an
through
honor.
the 6
Our
o'clock
pleasure.
too.
Well, it's
Congratulations.
Let me tell you, as a native Washingtonian, sitting at this desk was an honor beyond belief. Max Robinson sat at this desk, right? So I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to have worked here.
Yeah. All right, we're going to keep this conversation going.
We
Don't
sure
go anywhere
are.
just yet.
You can't leave us. You can't leave us. That's right. We're going to have more with our two legends and dear friends with us coming up on the news at 6.
All right. Still ahead here tonight, Donald Trump already saying he won Nevada's primary, even though voting is still underway and his name isn't even on the ballot. So our Verify team will sort through Nevada's complicated voting process and explain why he's right.
Channel 9, 75 years. As a native Washingtonian, I literally grew up watching Channel 9. Gordon Peterson, Maureen Bunyan, Glenn Brenner. I even remember when Topper Shutt was very, very young and started doing the weather. I love you guys, grew up with you guys. You've been around for a long time, or maybe I've been around for a long time, or maybe both. But I'm so happy for you. Happy 75th, 75 more, and then some. Thanks for all you do for the greater Washington community.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
The day's biggest stories in the news.
If you're looking for great local programming and more, you found it. Welcome to our streaming channel. Here you can catch up on all the latest news, weather, and sports you need. Countless hours of fresh, original content you can watch at any speed. To stay up to date on what's happening above you, around you, or around the world. Stay in the national know or binge watch your own backyard. Stream everything you love about local, plus so much more.
Right now,
we know no night in the DMV is the same. At WUSA9, we don't just tell the news. We pursue truth. With a commitment to accuracy, our purpose is clear. Because we know behind every headline, there's a heartline. Your stories, your community, your station. Watch WUSA9 News at 6 and 11 p.m.
35,000. That is the average number of decisions a mom makes every single day. They say it takes a village to raise a child. We say it takes a squad. Mom Squad every week right here on your streaming app.
The news at 5:30 starts with another legal blow for former President Donald Trump. A federal appeals court has ruled he does not have broad immunity from prosecution. So Trump's lawyers have argued he cannot be prosecuted for actions taken while he was president. This all centers around the DOJ's election interference case.
And so now this legal battle is likely headed to the Supreme Court. The former president has until Monday to appeal the case to the High Court. The D.C. Court of Appeals rejected former President Trump's claims that he's immune from prosecution for his actions while he was in the White House and leading up to the Capitol riots on January 6, 2021. The three-judge panel issued a unanimous 57-page ruling.
They basically said that former President Trump, for present purposes, is citizen Donald Trump, and he enjoys no greater protection against criminal prosecution than any other citizen of the United States.
Trump sat in the front row when his lawyers made their arguments in January and has continued to plead his case on the campaign trail.
This isn't just me. This is all presidents. They have to be given immunity. Otherwise, they're going to be unable to act.
His camp responded to the ruling saying President Trump respectfully disagrees with the D.C. Circuit's decision and it will appeal it in order to safeguard the presidency and the Constitution. The wait for this ruling pushed back the federal election interference trial against the former president. It had been scheduled to get underway in less than a month. The former president's options for appeal include the U.S. Supreme Court.
I think it's probably likely the Supreme Court will act very quickly to not take this case.
All of this making it harder for the current GOP presidential frontrunner to avoid trial as voters weigh their options for the November ballots. And legal experts say a trial could be on the docket as soon as the spring.
All right now, people who live in Nevada are voting in the state's presidential primary. We could know the results of the primary in the next 5 hours or so, but some users on social media say this election doesn't even count. And former President Donald Trump has been declaring victory for weeks now, even though his name isn't even on the ballot. Here's Abby Larico to verify what's going on here.
Coming off wins in Iowa and New Hampshire, former President Donald Trump says the outcome of Tuesday's vote in Nevada doesn't matter. He wrote on Truth Social that his opponent, Nikki Haley, quote, didn't want to play because of her bad polling. She gets 0 delegates. I get them all. So let's verify. Is it true that Nikki Haley can't win any delegates in Nevada? Our sources are the Nevada Secretary of State's office, the Nevada Republican Party, and Assembly Bill 126. For years, Nevada only had caucuses. These are different from primaries because they're organized by political parties rather than the state government. Back in 2020, the results of the Democratic caucus were delayed, so state lawmakers passed a bill requiring Nevada to hold more traditional elections. But the state parties still have the power to choose how they award delegates. So the state's Republican Party chose to hold a caucus as well. That's happening Thursday. The party enacted rules banning any candidate who appears on the state-run primary ballot from taking part in the caucus and awarding all Nevada delegates to the Republican National Convention based on the outcome of the caucus, not the primary. Trump filed for the caucus, while Haley and previous candidates like Mike Pence and Chris Christie filed for the primary. So we can verify it's true. Nikki Haley can't win any delegates from the state of Nevada. She also might not win the primary. Voters can also select none of these candidates. Since Republicans are allowed to vote in the primary and the caucus, Trump supporters are urging people to choose none of these candidates to prevent Haley from claiming a victory. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
All right, we want to go live to the U.S. Capitol now. Right now, members of the House are debating articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. A vote is expected later today. Republicans accuse Mayorkas of failing to enforce immigration policies, allowing for a record number of illegal border crossings. They also accuse him of lying to lawmakers about whether the southern border was secure. Well, Democrats accuse the GOP of using impeachment proceedings to score political points.
A jury in Michigan has found Jennifer Crumbley guilty on all 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. This is tied to her teenage son's mass shooting at his high school back in 2021. And those 4 counts were for each student who died. Crumbley becomes the first parent in the nation to be held responsible for a child carrying out a mass school attack. Prosecutors say she failed to keep the gun secure at home and failed to get mental health support for her son, Ethan. Hours before the shooting, both his parents were called to school for a meeting about their son's behavior, but they left him there that day.
She could have searched the backpack. She could have asked her son where the gun was. She could have locked the ammunition. She could have locked the gun. She could have taken him home.
Crumbley will be sentenced in April. Her husband faces trial next month on similar charges. Their son, Ethan, is serving life in prison.
Chocolate lovers rejoice just before Valentine's Day. I'm Wendy Gillette. I'll bring you here to St. Lucia to show you how it's traditionally made.
All right, high temperature today was 46. It's going to be another cold night, so don't let that fool you. 31 downtown, but plenty of 20s. 25 in Springfield, 24 Dulles, 24 Middleburg, 23 in Haymarket. We'll come back. New model data in on next week's storm. I'll share.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time shero to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our shero, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
35,000. That is the average number of decisions a mom makes every single day. That's a lot for any parent, so we're here to help. Mom Squad has it covered. We're grappling with these questions ourselves. Might as well do it together. Mom Squad every week right here on your streaming app. And if you miss an episode, don't worry. Go to the Shows tab at the top of your screen and you can find all the Mom Squad episodes covering all the topics that matter most to you.
Right now,
we know no night in the DMV is the same. At WUSA9, we don't just tell the news. We pursue truth. With a commitment to accuracy, our purpose is clear. Because we know behind every headline, there's a heartline. Your stories, your community, your station. Watch WUSA9 News at 6 and 11 p.m.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Valentine's Day is next week, which may have you thinking about chocolate. Countries around the world where the sweet treat is produced are ready for the holiday. And in today's Travel Tuesday, Wendy Gillette, who's got all the best assignments, visits St. Lucia, where cocoa trees have been part of the landscape since the 1700s.
This is part of the long process to turn cocoa beans into chocolate on the Caribbean island of St. Lucia.
But everybody loves chocolate. Who would refuse the chocolate? But other people don't know where it comes from or what it comes from.
At the locally owned Fondue Eco Resort, the Chocolate Heritage Tour walks visitors through all the stages of traditional chocolate creation on a 19th century working cocoa estate. Cocoa beans, known here as jungle M&Ms, are harvested, then fermented and dried.
This cauldron is also part of the chocolate making process in which the Cocorina dance helps polish the beans.
The aptly named dance also makes shelling easier before the beans are roasted and ground down. The shells are separated from the cocoa nibs, which are blended into a powder. Ready for the addition of cocoa butter and sugar and the final steps to create 100% organic chocolate.
We don't use no weedicides and pesticides. Everything is natural.
The nearby Rabat Hotel from Hotel Chocolat features open-air showers and rooms overlooking the island's famous pitons. There's a tree-to-bar tour on the cacao plantation where you can graft your own cocoa tree and create a chocolate bar.
It was fascinating to me because there was only 3 ingredients.
Cacao dots the restaurant's menu, from cacao beer-battered fish and chips to cacao-infused liquors, cocktails, and multiple chocolate desserts. Both hotels where we stayed for a special rate also offer chocolate-themed spa treatments. If you're still longing for more before heading home, stop by French Creole restaurant Artisan right next to the airport for its chocolate-inspired dishes. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Soufrière, St. Lucia.
So St. Lucia celebrates Chocolate Heritage Month every August, but the main harvest season is actually from November to February.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
So,
What did you just say?
I said I've never seen. I don't really know how the chocolate process worked, and as you know, I'm a chocoholic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting and a lot more work than you think, right?
Yeah, right. But it only has 3 ingredients, right?
That's it.
So that's not
but
so bad.
But I don't like the chocolate that has too much of the high percentage of cocoa, because then it's not sweet enough.
Oh, so you don't. You
under 60%, I think.
Also, what are we doing wrong? Like, to pitch, hey, let's go to St. Lucia.
I think we're going to have to pitch differently. Maybe as a team, we need a chocolate team building event.
That would be good.
Right?
That would be bonding.
Where exactly.
You get the chocolate you like.
And see, we benefit, and then you benefit, and then everyone benefits, right?
I like your thinking.
I'm not sure we can sell that, but we can try.
Yeah, I'm not so sure it's going to happen, but
if you keep the snow away, it will.
I'm not so sure about that. I don't know about that. All right, so yes, we got a pollen reading today, and I showed you a picture last night of the silver maple, which is kind of budding right now. So, whoops, on this side. So it's low for trees and low for mold spores. And yeah, box elder and maple is showing up already on trees. I mean, it will start to pick up, especially in late February and certainly in early March. So get ready. All right, so here's the thing. Tomorrow morning is going to be cold, but tomorrow afternoon is going to be great. It's going to be sunny, seasonable finish, and then mostly sunny Thursday, milder, and then mild Friday, mainly dry. I mean, a fair amount of clouds on Friday, but still a good day. I mean, if you want to, pick a day to play golf, Friday's fine. It's going to be just fine. All right, we're still tracking some rain out in LA. This image is just about 50 seconds old, and there's still, see the yellow and the orange? That's heavy rainfall. I mean, this is totally insult to injury after their 4, 5, 6 inches of rain they had Sunday, Monday. Okay. So this is the European model. Showed you the American model earlier. This is the European model. This updated just a few hours ago. It's the latest one we have. And this is 6 o'clock Saturday morning. So we're generally okay. We have showers back to the south and west of us. But much like the American model, these kind of split. Some go north, some go south. And by 5:30, we're still dry. I mean, could have a shower late Saturday night. And much like the American model, it has some showers. This is 8 o'clock Sunday morning. But then it takes the moisture south. So once again, I think to and from Super Bowl parties, don't have to worry about wet roads. Then we're watching another storm back to the south. But unlike the American model, the European model keeps this totally south of us. Some clouds possible, but generally south. And, full transparency here, last night at one time, the American model had a snowstorm in here Monday, Tuesday. It dropped it. And then last night, the European model had a snowstorm in here Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday late. And it dropped it. So right now, we're going to be watching that storm, but sadly, there's not much cold air available, even if it were to hit us. That's the real sad part. Seasonable tomorrow, 50. Cold at the bus stop. Mid-50s on Thursday, and then milder Friday. More clouds, yes, but nice day, 61. I mean, can you beat that? And then low 60s by the time we get to Saturday. And then we're looking at upper 50s on Sunday. Stray shower on Sunday. And then, you know what? Not bad on Monday. We'll watch that storm on Monday and Tuesday, But for the most part, I think that storm's going to stay south of us. Highs around 50 both of those days.
Okay, we're okay with that. Okay. Thank you, Todd. Still ahead here after the break tonight. Some sound advice from the IRS on finding the right person to prepare your taxes. It just might save you some money. We'll be right back. Right now,
we know no night in the DMV is the same. At WUSA9, we don't just tell the news. We pursue truth. With a commitment to accuracy, our purpose is clear. Because we know behind every headline, there's a heartline. Your stories, your community, your station. Watch WUSA9 News at 6 and 11 p.m.
35,000. That is the average number of decisions a mom makes every single day. That's a lot for any parent, so we're here to help. Mom Squad has it covered. We're grappling with these questions ourselves. Might as well do it together. Mom Squad every week right here on your streaming app. And if you miss an episode, don't worry. Go to the Shows tab at the top of your screen and you can find all the Mom Squad episodes covering all the topics that matter most to you.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
If you're looking for great local programming and more, you found it. Welcome to our streaming channel. Here you can catch up on all the latest news, weather, and sports you need. Countless hours of fresh, original content you can watch at any speed. To stay up to date on what's happening above you, around you, or around the world. Stay in the national know or binge watch your own backyard. Stream everything you love about local, plus so much more.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
We are looking out for your money this tax season. The IRS spends a lot of time investigating tax crimes, and this tax season is cracking down on schemes that victimize you, the taxpayer. We spoke with Special Agent Kareem Carter, who has some simple advice when it comes to finding the right person to prepare your taxes.
Ask questions. Go with your gut. If something's telling you it doesn't feel right, go with your gut and find somebody else. Do your due diligence, do some research, and find a legitimate tax return preparer.
Yes, trust your gut. Make sure your tax preparer enters a preparer tax identification number, or the PTIN, on your tax return. Never sign a blank tax form, and make sure your refund goes to your account, not your tax preparer.
All right, so the Grammy teacher, the Grammy Educator of the Year, we should say, is back to work today at Annandale High School in Fairfax County, Virginia.
Yeah, so Ray spent the weekend in Los Angeles for this year's Grammy Awards show, Annie Ray, we should say. So this morning, she reunited with her students, bringing some extra gold hardware with her. Look at that.
That is fantastic. Talking about inspiration, Ray talked about how teaching music, though, is really just a small portion of her job.
Music education is so much more than just the notes and the rhythms on the page. It's not necessarily about teaching violin or band teaching clarinet or chorus teaching singing. It's about teaching confidence and teamwork and how to sit with the discomfort of not being good at something right away, which can be very challenging for students, and the process of overcoming that.
Life skills. Ray had a lot more to share with reporter Randy Ayala, including how she felt meeting some of the biggest celebs.
Everybody.
I mean, look, she is in her heaven right there. Tune in for the rest of the story tonight on the news at 11.
Oh, I cannot wait to see that. All right, there's a new gold standard in dental care, how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing oral hygiene.
If you're looking for great local programming and more, you found it. Welcome to our streaming channel. Here you can catch up on all the latest news, weather, and sports you need. Countless hours of fresh, original content you can watch at any speed. To stay up to date on what's happening above you, around you, or around the world. Stay in the national know or binge watch your own backyard. Stream everything you love about local, plus so much more.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She carried 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Right now,
We know no night in the DMV is the same. At WUSA9, we don't just tell the news. We pursue truth. With a commitment to accuracy, our purpose is clear. Because we know behind every headline, there's a heartline. Your stories, your community, your station. Watch WUSA9 News at 6 and 11 p.m.
35,000. That is the average number of decisions a mom makes every single day. That's a lot for any parent, so we're here to help. Mom Squad has it covered. We're grappling with these questions ourselves. Might as well do it together. Mom Squad every week right here on your streaming app. And if you miss an episode, don't worry. Go to the Shows tab at the top of your screen and you can find all the Mom Squad episodes covering all the topics that matter most to you.
We are back with a health alert, and this one right here is a game changer. So when was the last time you visited the dentist? The American Dental Association reports that some 100 million Americans fail to visit the dentist once a year. Dentists are hoping some new technology could help close that gap just a bit. So here's a look at how dentists are using artificial intelligence to enhance some of their treatments.
This could turn into tens of thousands of dollars in root canals and crowns if we don't act.
Dr. Kai Williams explaining to his patient, Patrick Kipp, how artificial intelligence helped figure out what was causing his pain.
The system noted a possible area of infection or a fracture of the tooth.
Something Kipp said was missed by other dentists he visited with repeated complaints of a toothache.
It was quite a process. It was a lot of pain, a lot of confusion, a lot of difficulty figuring it all out.
He finally turned to Dr. Williams at Dental House in Middletown, Delaware, who in addition to traditional dental evaluations also uses artificial intelligence.
It's just an amazing diagnostic tool as a second opinion.
Artificial intelligence is a computer system that's a collection of millions of dental images that show different conditions. The AI software can in seconds compare and analyze new images.
It is truly going to become the gold standard in the dental industry.
Here's the traditional X-ray, and now shown in pink with the AI application.
it allows us to, again, not only see that there's a cavity present, but also be accurate into how aggressive that cavity is.
The American Dental Association says AI is progressing, but human expertise and clinical judgment remain essential. Here's what AI shows for Kip, the fracture and infection that was fixed with an extraction.
So I'm very thankful that they were able to help.
Dr. Williams now uses AI for all of his patients at no additional charge. Kip says he has a new appreciation for this new technology.
The news at 6 begins with a push now to curb violent crime in the district.